Steele dear, we know that literally everything and everyone is problematic. So let's take a look at some of the more problematic advertisements that have come out in the last few weeks and some of the righteously, morally justified outrage that followed. If you saw a billboard poster where a man had his hand around a woman's throat as she struggled to breathe, chances are you'd be shocked. As a clear example of violence against women, most people would either expect it to feature a slogan about domestic violence awareness or face the wrath of the public. But what if that same image didn't feature a nameless man and woman, but actors Oscar Isaac and Jennifer Lawrence in the new X-Men movie? Because that is exactly what the makers of X-Men Apocalypse have chosen to do with their billboard advertising the release of the film. Of course, it could only be this incredibly problematic, sexist, and misogynist image. At least that's the opinion of largely irrelevant actress Rose McGowan, who hasn't appeared in anything worth watching for nearly a decade now, who has called out the image for its casual violence and damaging message. There is a major problem when the men and women at 20th Century Fox think casual violence against women is the way to market a film, McGowan told The Hollywood Reporter on Facebook. There is no context for the ad, just a woman getting strangled. The fact that no one flagged this is offensive and frankly stupid. The geniuses behind this, and I use that term lightly, need to take a long, hard look at the mirror and see how they are contributing to society, she said without a single hint of self-reflection. Little did she realize, of course, that the entire purpose of this poster is given context once you actually know the plot of the film. Apocalypse, a mutant of near godlike ability, who steals the powers of other mutants, and is obsessed with the concept of strength, to the point where he wishes to destroy the world as it is and rebuild it in his own image. Hence the phrase, "Only the strong will survive," since mutants that he deems strong enough will be permitted to persist through this destruction and remodeling of the world. This particular poster is based on a scene from the film, in which Mystique, using her shape-shifting powers to appear as one of his allies, has successfully approached Apocalypse and sliced his throat open with a knife. However, this assassination attempt fails, owing to his regenerative capacity that you see him steal from a mutant in the opening scenes of the movie. So if you are even vaguely familiar with the concept of this film, or indeed even just these characters, that has already provided you full context. But not content showing that much ignorance of the source material, McGowan went on to state, imagine if it were a black man being strangled by a white man, or a gay man being strangled by a hetero. The outcry would be enormous. So let's right this wrong, 20th Century Fox. Since you can't manage to put any women directors on your slate for the next 2 years, how about you at least replace your ad? As if that is in any way an argument that makes any sense whatsoever. Non sequiturs? What's that? But of course we had to wind up with the emotional tale straight out of Pixar It Didn't Happen land. I'll close with a text my friend sent, a conversation with his daughter. It follows, "My daughter and I were just having a deep discussion on the brutality of that hideous X-Men poster yesterday." Her words, "Dad, why is that monster man committing violence against a woman?" This from a 9-year-old. If she can see it, why can't Fox? No, I'm pretty sure Fox could see it, on account of it being a relevant plot point in the film. You see, there is an inevitable consequence to this kind of nonsense. You demand more women in leading positions in films. Fair enough demand. You then, however, start putting other criteria on top of that demand, such as, well, we want more women in these films, but they're not ever allowed to experience any sort of violence against them, because that's then promoting violence against women somehow. Okay, so we need to have more women in these films, but nothing bad is allowed to happen to them. How, pray tell, would you like their characters to develop in any sort of meaningful way if they never have to overcome any sort of burden or struggle? This is the kind of demand that leads to two kinds of female characters appearing in films. One, the overpowered as all hell Mary Sue who can never do anything wrong, that everyone loves, but the audience hates because they have no personality and are generally just unbelievable. Or two, a person whose personality and screen presence can be described as beige, lukewarm, tapioca pudding. Nothing ever really happens to them, they don't develop anything, they don't lose anything, they're just kind of a mush that is forever present on the screen that you don't really care about or are interested in or invested in any capacity. This is a recipe for terrible film writing. Apparently on this issue, Fox has not yet responded to a request for comment, but the poster has continued to receive negative feedback. New York blogger Evie Grieve posted a photo of it covered with pieces of paper that read, "This violence in my kid's face is not okay." Twitter is full of similar views, with people writing, if these characters looked more typically human, would this ever have been put on a billboard? Others have questioned, what kind of misogynist bullshit is this, and why is it okay to use violence to women as advertisement, just because it's superheroes? Answer, it's not, and it's about time marketing directors figured that out. Because using important plot points and interesting moments from the actual film in your advertisement is inappropriate because reasons. Did you get offended by this poster from the exact same film? This guy is now holding a dead person. Doesn't bother you, does it? Because you can't turn it into an issue about violence against women. You can't play the misogyny card, so you don't care. After all, violence only matters when you know the gender of the victim, right? But of course, problematic advertisement doesn't stop with claiming violence against women. Of course, you've got to get a few claims of racism in there as well, something which the American Red Cross had to deal with recently, regarding a pool safety poster that they had displayed at a local swimming pool from Ventura in California. The poster headed, "Be cool, follow the rules," depicts several children playing around a pool, with labels advertising their behavior as cool or not cool. The poster became the subject of ire on social media after one mother noted that it was predominantly white children in the poster labeled as cool and non-white children labeled not cool. Well, let's have a look at this incredibly offensive and racist publication, shall we? Oh, geez, look at that absolute filth. Blatant racism everywhere. I mean, you've got to squint really hard and be a massive racist yourself in order to see it, but it's there. On a serious note, this poster has quite obviously been designed to be a very ethnically diverse and all-inclusive image. And honestly, I think the biggest problem that this poster has is that it is in no way clear whatsoever. Take, for instance, these two kids on the left here, around the diving board. One of them is diving off the diving board, which is deemed to be not cool, and yet one of them is standing waiting to use the diving board, and that is deemed to be cool. What exactly is the message here? Looking at the pool, it has a line of boys separating off that area of the pool. To me, that would indicate that that area of the pool is dedicated for diving. Now, if I were to put my detective goggles on, I would realize that the ladder is in this end of the pool, which to me might indicate that this is supposed to be the shallow end of the pool, where you would generally not encourage people to dive. However, if that's the case, why is there a goddamn diving board in the shallow end of the pool? Your message is ridiculously convoluted here. What about this kid? What the hell is this kid in the middle doing? If we accept the original premise that the left side of the pool is the shallow end and the right is the deep end, is this supposed to imply that this kid is a poor swimmer and shouldn't be this deep in the water? If that is the case, then what the hell is this parent doing with this child in the deepest point of the pool? Honestly, how ridiculously hard it is to try and interpret what the hell any of these activities are supposed to be is the most offensive part of this poster. Frankly, this one strikes me as a you can't do right for doing wrong situation. You attempt to do something that is ethnically inclusive and diverse, but nope, you're still a goddamn racist. Why bother using signs like this, which are very clear in their meaning, when you can just fudge together a really poor cartoony image that kind of lacks any actual meaning because the interpretation of it is so ridiculously difficult, and get yourself publicly lambasted as being a racist? Well played. And of course, the American Red Cross immediately caved in to the accusation. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We're removing this from our site immediately and are creating new materials, they responded. Good job to the raging racist who truly proved that no good deed goes unpunished.
Well, cause I'm a bitch, she's a big fat bitch, she's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a stupid bitch, and everyone's a bitch, she's a bitch to all the boys and girls.
And finally, London's first Muslim mayor, Sadiq Khan, has said there will be no more body-shaming adverts on the tube. Adverts which put Londoners under pressure over body image are to be banned from the tube and bus network. Sadiq Khan announced that Transport for London will no longer run ads which could cause body confidence issues, particularly among young people. The mayor, a father of 2 teenage daughters, warned the ads could demean women and encourage them to conform to unrealistic or unhealthy body shapes. It means controversial adverts like Protein World's Are You Beachbody Ready poster, which provoked a huge backlash when it appeared last year, would no longer be allowed. Yes, I'm sure this is all about your concern for the feelings of women and has absolutely nothing to do with your own personal beliefs about how other people should conduct themselves or dress.